Hello, welcome all to another episode Sports Chat, the BJ Show. This episode, Aidan and I will be going back to the semi-finals and 20-finals, our reviews and thoughts overall. And as well, the big one, the grand final as well, who makes it. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show as we see who makes the 2024 AFL Grand Final. So let's get the show underway with the first game of the semi-finals. Port Adelaide host Hawthorn Hawks at the Adelaide Oval on Friday Night Footy. Aidan, I'll let you take away with all your semi-final thoughts. Take it away as you will share the first game, Port Adelaide v Hawthorn, and then with the GWS Giants host Brisbane Lions. Take it away. I'm looking forward to your thoughts.
It is now time for the semi-finals in the 2024 AFL Premiership season. The first semi-final we have is between Port Adelaide and Hawthorn from the Adelaide Oval. We go quarter by quarter as always. In the first quarter, Port Adelaide kicked 2 goals, Hawthorn only 2 points. Second quarter, Port Adelaide added 3 goals to end the half at 5-6. Hawthorn added 4 goals to go 4-3 at half time. Second half, Port Adelaide opened the third quarter and get 2 goals. Hawthorn, 3 goals in the third quarter. The final quarter comes down to a shootout with Port Adelaide adding 4 goals. Hawthorn also adding 4 goals, and Port Adelaide hung on by 3 points as they book their ticket to versus the Sydney Swans in the preliminary finals. This was a very back and forth game, very up and down game. Both teams had opportunities to win the game. Both teams had opportunities to cost themselves the game, to be fair. And it was Port Adelaide who just survived just at the end by those 3 points. And this is the third time that these two teams have had a 3-point margin in the finals. The other 2 times have gone the way of the Hawks. This time it goes the way of the Power. We'll get to my player of the game, who is going to go to Ollie Wines from Port Adelaide with 92 AFL fantasy, 23 touches, 8 kicks, 15 handballs, 2 marks, 10 tackles.
Aidan, it's time to share your second game of the semi-finals. GWS Giants host Brisbane. Now it's time to hear your thoughts. Take it away.
It is now time for the second semi-final with GWS Giants taking on the Brisbane Lions from West Sydney. Here we go. The big game is here, the big guns are out, and we are underway with the first quarter. GWS kicking 5 goals in that opening term to Brisbane's 3. Second quarter, GWS kick out ahead. They go to 8 goals, so they add 3. Brisbane only adding 1 goal, 5 in the second quarter. Then we come out of half-time, GWS adding 6 goals in that third quarter to Brisbane adding 5, so the game started to open up as we get to the finish. And in the final quarter, it is GWS adding 1 goal to Brisbane adding 6 goals to come out on top. Winners in another close one, 15-10 100 GWS to 15-15 105 to the Brisbane Lions. Going back over this game, GWS had a 44-point lead halfway through the third quarter, and Brisbane have been able to run them down and book themselves a ticket to Melbourne to play the Cats in the second preliminary final. Now, GWS, I just think that this is the finals wasted for them. I think that they had Sydney on the ropes in the qualifying finals. They've had Brisbane on the ropes here. This is going to take a lot of coming back from for the GWS, and I don't see how they can come back strong again next year with this over their head. I think it would take a little bit of rebuilding to get themselves back into this position, but they should be around the mark again in the next couple of years. Brisbane, well, they've got another ticket to punch down in Geelong and see if they can get to the grand final. And on that note, I will have to give my player of the game to Brisbane's Joe Danaher, who saved the day for the Lions. 82 fantasy, 4 goals, 13 touches, 9 kicks, 4 handballs, 5 marks and 2 tackles.
It's Friday night footy at Adelaide Oval with a sold-out crowd for the first semi-finals for Port Adelaide take on Hawthorn Hawks. What a game this was. It was close, and that is always good. Let's begin as I start with quarter by quarter. Port Adelaide start well with 2 goals to Hawthorn. No goals for the quarter. Quarter time Port 15 to Hawthorn 3 points. Port by 13 points. Second quarter Hawthorn add on 4 goals to Port 3 goals for the quarter. Half time Port Adelaide 36 to Hawthorn 27. Port by 9 points. Third quarter Hawthorn add on another 3 goals to go with 45. To Port Adelaide add on 2 goals to go with 50 points for the quarter. 3-quarter time Port Adelaide by 7 points. Could we have Hawthorn with the win, or is Port Adelaide safe with the win? Final quarter 4 goals each for both Port Adelaide and Hawthorn. Well done to Port Adelaide winning by 3 points, 75 to 72. Well done to Port Adelaide going thought to take on Sydney in the first preliminary final. My best player for this game is from Port Adelaide, Ollie Wines. Well done on your game performance included 23 disposals, 10 tackles, 2 marks, and 92 AFL fantasy. We come to the second semi-final in west of Sydney, as we have GWS Giants take on Brisbane Lions, what should be one of the best finals in long time in the AFL. Let's get it start with quarter by quarter. First quarter great start by GWS 5 goals to Brisbane 3 goals for the quarter. Quarter time GWS 33 to Brisbane 23 GWS by 10 points. Second quarter GWS add on another 3 goals to Brisbane add on 1 goal for the quarter. Halftime GWS 55 to Brisbane 34 GWS by 21 points. Third quarter GWS huge quarter add on 6 goals to Brisbane, also a huge quarter add on 5 goals. 3-quarter time GWS 92 to Brisbane 67 GWS by 25 points. During the third quarter, GWS were up by 44 points. Final quarter with having a 11-goal share for both Giants and Lions. Brisbane add on another 6 goals to GWS with 1 goal for the quarter. Well done to Brisbane Lions defeated GWS Giants by 5 points 105 to 100. Well done to Brisbane getting through to the 2024 AFL second preliminary final as they will face Geelong. My best player for this game is from Brisbane ruckman Oscar McInerney included 13 disposals, 4 marks, 4 tackles, 1 goal, 38 hit-outs, and 109 AFL fantasy points.
It is now time for the first preliminary final. Winner of these games books their tickets to the grand final on the last Saturday in September. Who's it gonna be? We start with the Swans and the Power at the SCG. A big game under lights for Port Adelaide after their win over Hawthorn the week preceding. Sydney obviously come in with the week off after they beat GWS in their chase down of the Giants. We go quarter by quarter. It's Sydney opening up 4-goal straight quarter to Port Adelaide 2 goals. In the second quarter, Swannies really pressed the advantage. They had 5 goals and Port only had 2. Second half, pretty much more of the same for the Swannies. This game was in the hand and they took control. 4 goals in the third quarter go to 13 goals for the night. Port Adelaide only able to add 2 going to 6. And the final quarter, the Swannies add 1 goal and the Power add 2. The game finishes Sydney 14-11-95 to Port Adelaide 8-11-59. Sydney are going to be in the grand final. I've called it all year. They are premiers elect and they have one task remaining, and that is to knock over whoever they play in the grand final, who we will get to very shortly. For Port Adelaide, this was a bit of a disappointing performance coming off the week after playing the Hawks and getting that narrow victory. You've got to take opportunities like this and keep it competitive if you want to be a top side in the AFL. With that said though, we will get to my player of the game now. And my player of the game will be Isaac Heaney from the Sydney Swans with 115 fantasy, 2 goals, 24 touches, 16 kicks, 8 handballs, 6 marks and 6 tackles. It is now time for the second preliminary final from the MCG between the Cats, who come in off the week off over Port Adelaide, and the Brisbane Lions, who chased down the GWS Giants in an absolute epic the week before. Quarter by quarter, we go. Brisbane starting off hot. They go 3 goals in the first quarter. Geelong only 1. Second quarter, the game suddenly is flipped on its head. Geelong with a 7-goal quarter, and Brisbane only able to manage 2 goals. Third quarter, the game flipped again, this time back to Brisbane. Geelong added 2 goals to Brisbane, adding 5 goals. And in the final quarter, Brisbane, hold on, adding 4 goals, Geelong's 2. The final score, Geelong 12-13, 85, Brisbane 14-11, 95. So both preliminary final winners there, 14-11, 95. As we go into the grand final, it will be the Swannies and the Lions from the MCG on the last Saturday in September. We'll get to that game in a minute. Geelong are another team who have been run down by Brisbane. Brisbane are a team who are hungry for a premiership. I think that they deserve a premiership. I don't know what happened this year. Sydney have been so good. Fair play to them. They've got there. You never know what happens until you run out of that time in September's last game. When it goes 0-0 in the fourth quarter and the final siren sounds, that's when the premier is decided. It is not decided during the week, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen that plenty of times before. As for the Lions, again, they chased down the Cats. Brilliant effort, brilliant chase down, and rightfully booking a spot in the grand final. Can't wait to see what they do against the Swannies. And we will have a showdown for the ages as we go all the way back to 1899, the last time Brisbane and Sydney played each other in the grand final, when they were South Melbourne and Fitzroy. My player of the game for this match between the Cats and the Lions is going to be Dane Zorko from the Brisbane Lions. 126 AFL Fantasy, 32 touches, 25 kicks, 7 handballs, 8 marks and 3 tackles.
We now come to the first preliminary final between Sydney Swans versus Port Adelaide Power, with having a big crowd at the SCG. What a game this was, and I am now going to share quarter by quarter. Swans host Power in Sydney at SCG for the last time on Friday Night Footy 2024. First quarter, Sydney had the lead early and started well with 4 goals to Port Adelaide, 2 goals for the quarter. Quarter time, Sydney led by 9 points. Second quarter, Sydney add on another 5 goals to Port Adelaide, add on 2 goals for the quarter. Sydney led by 21 points. We come to the final half for Friday Night Footy. Here we go. Third quarter, Sydney add on 4 goals to Port Adelaide, 2 goals for the quarter. Three-quarter time, Sydney led by 40 points. Final quarter, Port Adelaide add on 2 goals to Sydney add on 1 goals. Full-time, Sydney 95 to Port Adelaide 59. Well done to Sydney making it thought to the 2024 AFL Grand Final. We come to the second preliminary at the MCG for 60. Geelong Cats take on Brisbane Lions. I am going to share quarter by quarter. First quarter, Brisbane started well with 3 goals to Geelong 1 goal. Quarter time, Brisbane led by 9 points. Second quarter, Geelong come out with adding 6 goals to Brisbane, 2 goals for the quarter. Half-time, Geelong take the 19 points lead. Third quarter, Brisbane add on 5 goals to Geelong, add on 2 goals for the quarter. Three-quarter time, Brisbane by 2 points. Who is taking on Sydney 2020 for AFL Grand Final? Final quarter, Brisbane and Geelong add 4 goals each for the quarter. Well done to Brisbane, defeated Geelong in a sold-out crowd at the MCG. We have the 2 teams will meet last day in September at MCG. Sydney Swans and Brisbane Lions. History fact: back in 1899 in the VFL competition, the team was named back in 1899 were South Melbourne and Fitzroy, and also Fitzroy winning by 1 point. My thoughts for the grand final: I think this should be one of the best grand finals since 2006. My tip for this game is Brisbane Bikaju, how Brisbane play thought the final series. Brisbane have big out as West Sydney do. Brisbane by 2 goals in close one. May the best team win. Go Lions.
And we will have a showdown for the ages as we go all the way back to 1899, the last time Brisbane and Sydney played each other in the grand final, when they were South Melbourne and Fitzroy. Let's look ahead to that big game, the last Saturday in September between the Sydney Swans and the Brisbane Lions. Now, Brisbane have lost their ruckman, the big O, Oscar McInerney, after the win in Melbourne against the Cats, so that's a big out there for the Lions. The Swannies have a few outs, but we know what Sydney are capable of. They can go, they've got some big names out, but they're still up there, and that's why I've called them Premiers elect all year. But Brisbane have got me a little bit shaky now. I'm not sure. I've been flipping left and right the last couple of days since this matchup was made official. And at the moment, I'd say Sydney. I've got Sydney at the moment by 3 goals, but any news can change it. Training injuries during the week can change that. I think that Sydney are just a class better than Brisbane at their best. Like last time these two sides played, Brisbane were the team in form. Sydney were a little shaky. They had a lot of outs then, but Sydney are pretty much back at their full complement, and Brisbane are the ones with some key outs. So I think Sydney holds on that front. Brisbane, however, I do think have a chance. I think if Brisbane are able to control the game early and run their game plan and get Lachie Neale involved, get Dane Zorko involved, get their players involved, get their runners involved, get their forwards involved, it could be a very different game. Now, Brisbane, I think, have the real superstar potential in Lachie Neale, and Joe Danaher's made a big name of himself the last couple of weeks. For Sydney, is more of a team effort. They've got big names. They've got Heaney, they've got Warner, they've got Golden, but it is a team effort from the Swannies. Those three individually, I don't think are on the level of a Lachie Neale, and that's probably what it could come down to. Does Brisbane Superstars win the game for them, or does Sydney's lower quality star players, low quality superstar players, get the job done in a team effort for the Swans? I can't wait to find out. It's going to be a great game, but my final prediction is going to be the Sydney Swans by 19 points.